Okay, folks, welcome back to another fantastic edition of Opali Presents Know Your Pros. And today's guest, we have Ivan Gomez of Blue Pals Plumbing in Fallbrook, California. They are North County's choice for residential, commercial, new build construction plumbing throughout Southern California. The guy services all over the place, not just Fallbrook, but Oceanside, Carlsbad, San Diego, you name it. He's got a great team of dudes that you can call if you ever run into a plumbing emergency or just need something done with your home or business. Ivan, thank you so much for making the time, man, to join us on Know Your Pros.
Good morning, man. Thank you, Henry, for having us. I really appreciate the platform, and hopefully, we can kind of open the people's eyes in the area, and they can really get to know who we are, and just feel comfortable with having complete strangers in their home walking around looking under all their sinks, right?
It's funny that you mentioned that, Ivan, because that's like exactly why we wanted to start this show. It's why we call it Know Your Pros, right? Is because in home services, I think we spoke about this on the phone. It's like an intimate experience where
Hmm.
you've got strangers coming into your home, dealing with things going under your sink or into your bathroom spaces that usually you have the door shut with, right?
Right.
It's not always easy to lend trust to that contractor that you're going to go out there and decide to give a phone call to. So we figured, hey,
Hmm.
how about we put something out there that lets people meet their pro so that they can know their pro before they deal with that business. So I'm stoked we're able to do that with you, man. It's an exciting thing. Blue Pals has been in business here for 6 years. You have built yourself from sort of not having a business at all to having something that's very well established, that has a purpose, that has I guess um, honesty, integrity, sort of a way of doing business that you have been describing to me since we started on this call here. I want to get into that, what Blue Pals is all about here in a sec. But before we do, I want to know why it was, Ivan, that you decided to go out and start your own business. Can you tell us that story?
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up in Oceanside, went to Oceanside High, and wasn't at the time wasn't always the greatest of neighborhoods, but coming from Oceanside and really not knowing what I wanted to do or where I wanted to go, I knew I wanted something better, right, for myself, for my family. I wanted a future. I wanted something that my nephews, my kids can possibly grow into and learn about. And for me personally, at the time, college wasn't an option. I didn't think it was an option. Nor did I like school. I took construction at Oceanside High. Go Pirates! Took construction at Oceanside High. We had an awesome construction program where they taught us how to read blueprints on campus. We built a small home with solar panels. So we learned about all that stuff in high school. And I remember thinking to myself, like, wow, this is cool. This is something that I might want to do. Right. So I met my fiance in high school. I was 13, 14 years old at the time. And her family had a really successful plumbing company. And I learned a lot from their family and my brother-in-laws, and they taught me about the trade. And I just kind of fell in love with it. I fell in love with the pride behind the pride that they had with the trade, and I just kind of picked it up from there. And then when I started plumbing, I jumped into working for a different company. Right, I wanted to separate myself from the whole family dynamic of working with relatives and whatnot. And when I did, I was like, man, I got to do this for myself one day. I wanted to learn how to interact with clients, and I wanted to learn the paperwork behind it, and I wanted to learn how to run my own business. And it was pretty much where it all came from, really. And again, it was just a matter of wanting something for myself that I can work for. And I wanted to be able to walk into the office one day in flip flops and have my little one running right behind me, right, and hanging out at the office and playing around with all the tools and meeting the guys. And that's what I always envisioned for Blue Pals, is a family run and operated company where people can come in and feel comfortable, right? They can feel like they're a family, and not so much like you're working for this big corporate monster who's just all about numbers and sales and doesn't really care about the individual employee, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that
Yeah,
was
that's
pretty much.
very important. Having something that you envision as a means to, grow not only yourself, but your family and your own business is
Yeah.
important. It's important to do things for the right reasons, right? And starting your own business, it's not an easy step to take. It's not,
Mhm.
a comfortable step to take, not at all. And
Right.
so kudos to you for that, man. Um, I want to understand like what the attraction to plumbing was, though. I mean, I know you said that you had or you have your fiance whose family ran a somewhat successful plumbing business down in Oceanside.
Mhm.
Um, you said college wasn't really a route for you, and I love to hear this, where more and more people are sort of going into the trades, which is exciting, just because you can make great money doing that. But it's also something that more and more we need, right?
Yep.
We don't need more people who are just like wizards at the computer or coders. Of course, we do, but we're going to lose out on some of the finer arts, I guess, of the trades.
Sure.
So with you, I mean, I'm sure you're licensed, bonded, insured. I mean, tell us a little bit about that process.
So the licensing process, I first of all, I underestimated, right? I was young. I was in my early 20s when I really started looking into getting my own company. I started Blue Pals when I was about 23 or 24 years old. And I remember thinking to myself, I was going to wait till a certain age, right? I was thinking it was all a numbers game. Like, well, if I hit it by the time I'm this age,
Right.
maybe I'll be okay. Maybe the CSLB won't really, reject me for my age, right? Because that was my biggest concern. My obstacle was always growing up too fast and always fighting my age, right? I was always underestimated for being young and whatnot. But I remember I was doing a job for this guy who had started his own electrical company at a young age. And we had a conversation and he was telling me, he's like, man, what are you waiting for, man? What are you scared of? And I started asking myself, I'm like, what am I waiting for? What am I scared of? So I think I just kind of decided to pull the trigger that night. I think I went home, started doing some research, and I said, screw it. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to go for it. If I don't get it, then I don't get it. I'll try again next year and the following year and the following year. And but it is a process. It took me probably about a year. So the way it works is you can sign up for the classes and whatnot, because you do have to learn a lot of the legalities behind running a business, which obviously I had no idea what I was doing. Right, I'm a plumber, I wasn't a businessman. So I took some classes, and the process again was about a year, and you just kind of sitting around waiting for a test date, really, and that's kind of how it works. And you're just kind of hoping and preparing, and when the test date comes, I remember when I was studying for my test, I was so determined to pass it on the first try. I locked myself in my room for like 2 days. I was like, I don't want anybody to talk to me or bother me. And I made probably over about 1,000 quiz cards to prepare myself for that test, because I'm not the greatest test taker. But I can proudly say I went out there and I crushed it on the first try. So ever since then, we've been plumbing away.
Love
So
it,
then,
man.
man, maybe I
That's
could have made it in college.
yeah. Hey, well, I mean, that's commitment, man. And you took a dive into something that like I said, not a lot of people are brave enough to do, and that's owning your own business, which is great. So now you've had a chance to, create something out of thin air. You've got
Mhm.
your own company, you've got embroidered t-shirts. You're practically sponsored by Nike at this point here, right? So tell me a little bit as a way to wrap up this interview, like why somebody should consider calling Blue Pals over any other business. You told me that it's not just in the way that you hire and train people that work with you, but
Right.
in what you guys are trying to accomplish for the ocean too. Is that right?
Right. Let me ask you a question, Henry. When's the last time you called a professional to come out to your house?
Oh, just last week, man.
Okay. When you called, who answered the phone?
An admin.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
When you call Blue Pals Plumbing, this is the phone. See that's my dog. I am the admin, right? I am the person scheduling the jobs, right? I'm the guy behind the estimating and sometimes even doing the work, right? I'm wearing many hats because again, we're a small company. But this is the phone that gets answered and it's with me at all times. This is the phone my family calls when they need me and I answer at all times. But I have these phones on me, whether I'm at dinner, whether I'm at a birthday party, whether I'm out having some fun. I'll pick up the phone and I'll answer my clients all the time. And being the owner of a business, I've learned that it's not a really common thing to do. And I know a lot of people may not agree with it, and it's not a scalable process and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, I'm not trying to build a massive commercial company, right? I'm trying to keep it personal, and I'm trying to have personal, long-lasting relationships with my clientele. And in order to do so, I have to answer the phone and I have to talk to them and figure out what's going on. And I have to
Right.
learn their needs, right? And again, I think I was mentioning to you earlier, I think the biggest we probably want to get in the near future is probably anywhere between 7, maybe 10 trucks, if that. It's still a pretty decent sized company. We can get a lot done, but I can still manage and control the quality of service that the techs provide at that point. Anything bigger than that just gets a little, for me personally at least, it might just get a little chaotic and a little overwhelming.
Well, you know, the fun thing about what you're doing right now, whether or not, you know, you think that still answering the phone for your clients is an insane thing, which of course, you know, it's not. That's great. Whether or not you continue to do that, what you've got here is a great business here at Blue Pals. You guys are doing an incredible thing. And I think that folks will see that and that will reflect in the phone calls that you get, hopefully from this interview. So if somebody's out there here, Ivan, looking at you, wondering how they can get in touch with you, what would you tell them? How can they find you out there in the world? And what's that phone number for Blue Pals?
So the best way to contact me is going to be via text, right? Because again, I have my phone on me at all times. Our company phone number is 760-672-4623. Shoot me a call, send me a text. You can also see some of the stuff that we've done on Instagram. That's a newer page. It's probably been up for just under a year now. But I posted some pictures of our old stuff, some of the new stuff, the remodels, and we do a lot of remodels and new construction. So you can see some of that stuff on there as well. And then we just opened up a website, which is still under construction. You can go on Google. I'm sure you'll find us. We have very few reviews. So if you're watching this and I've done some work for you in the past, you know, feel free to help us out a little bit on that. I think the best way to really reach me though is going to be through either a phone call or a text message. And then just know that every time you hire Blue Pals to come out and do work for you, you're helping us, you know, to help a better cause. We're all from San Diego, and one of the biggest things that we really want to do is get linked with the organization to help clean up the ocean. So that'd be a really huge help for us as well. So thank you guys for the support.
Beautiful. And folks, everything that Ivan just said is going to be, of course, included down in the description. So check that out. Click on everything in terms of links down there. Give this guy a ring. And Ivan, if you need a hand in that review space, man, I think I know a guy who can give you one. So either either way, folks, that's Ivan Gomez. His business is Blue Pals Plumbing, Fallbrook, California, North County, San Diego, commercial, residential, new build, reconstruction, or remodels. Ivan, thank you so much for taking some time to jump on the show today.
Thank you, Henry. Thank you for having us.